Yeah, like that eel-looking thing in the lower left is the Angloform, but because there's other enemies in the group, it's not going to use Aqua Rake. There's quite a few enemies that have their AI that behaves differently depending on whether they're alone or in a group.
So here he took the right path on the first one, because even though you have to walk through a cave, you get one less encounter than if you were to take the left path. But here it's much faster to take the left, just because the caves are longer. Ooh.
Ew.
So yeah, you can't run away from pincer attacks until you've cleared at least one, or until you've cleared one side of the pincer.
Yeah, unless you have smoke bombs.
Right.
Which you will be getting very soon. The Angloforms are actually harder to run away from than most other enemies, because each enemy has a value associated with it that kind of determines its difficulty. I'm not explaining this very well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think how to explain it.
Think of it as each enemy has a value that determines how difficult it is to run from. Higher
Yeah.
values, it's harder to run from.
Most enemies are the same, have the same value, but there are certain ones that have a higher one. In
Every one of your characters has a value that affects how good they are at running away too, and Cyan is one of the worst.
Yeah.
So that's why
Locke
he's
is one
often
of the best.
He's often one of the last to run away.
Is this a fixed value for each of your characters?
Yes, it never changes.
Okay, so your stats have nothing to do with that.
Smoke bombs!
And smoke bombs are pretty much the biggest reason why, at least I believe so, why Quexel does Sabin's scenario first. Is now for the other two scenarios you can instantly run from anything.
Yeah, smoke bombs let you instantly run away from any battle that's not inescapable. It's kind of like the flee command in some of the other games, only unfortunately you have to spend money in order to do it in this game.
Okay, so Bannon riding a chocobo is coming up real soon. You won't want to miss it.
So is there any particular reason why you do this before Locke's scenario?
In my route, it's because I need to get the Genji glove off of Edgar and then give it to Locke for fighting the boss in Locke's scenario. In the normal any percent route, you would do Locke's scenario second so that you could get the running shoes from the Figaro basement and then use them for running away from battles faster in Terra's scenario.
So you don't just use the rod against...
He saves it for later.
Yeah.
Since he's doing glitchless, he's going to be using a lot of rods later on. That's just one less that he has. Well no, because you're going to use it before you can even buy them, huh?
Yeah, before I can actually buy them.
It's
If I could buy rods before Vector, then I'd still use one on Tunnel Armor.
Yeah, so it's more effective on a different boss. Don't forget to ride the chocobo.
Yep. Little detour. Well,
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so for all of you who donated to see Bannon
Do you have
riding a
enough money for
chocobo,
it?
it's
I can't remember how much it costs.
I don't think it's more than 300. Well, I guess we'll find out. Because it's under 100, I think, in South Figaro.
I can't remember how much it is.
it's 300. You're really going to regret not killing that Leafer.
So as a reminder, we have the Celis name bidding war coming up, and the current frontrunner for that name is Nami. And speaking of Nami, we have a $15 donation from Nami. It says, "Hey everyone, Nami here. I don't have a lot to say, except that I wish I could have made it this year. I would have loved to meet you all in person. I know I said this last year, but hopefully I can make it next year. I love you all. Stay awesome. Thanks, Nami.
Thank you, Nami.
If I hadn't already committed to running away with the other characters, I could have used a smoke bomb to get out of this faster. Just because you don't normally go through this desert a second time, I'm just trying to conserve my smoke bombs so I don't run out before I can buy more.
You want to kill this one?
Yeah, just kill
Just
the
in case
leafer
it
in
gives
case
you
it
enough
is
money.
300.
Wow, Bannon. Go Bannon. And speaking of Go Bannon, Bannon's also one of the slowest characters at running away.
Okay, be sure to watch.
Yeah, so just
This
keep
is
in mind that
special.
the game designers apparently did not think that you would, in the short period of time that you have both access to Bannon and parts of the world map, that you would come to ride a chocobo. It gets better.
Where does Ed go?
Decapitated Bannon.
Then we find out he's related to Terra.
Someone, I mean, I can't do it in my route, but someone else that's epic to ride a chocobo, Locke, wearing merchant clothes.
I haven't seen that one yet. I
Yeah.
want to see that.
So like we kind of alluded to earlier, I moved Bannon to the front row when I was doing my menuing here in order to set up General Leo being in the front row during the brief time that I have him later on. Just because I think it's Bannon and Maduin share the same guest character slot. Because Maduin has some bits of playable character data, even though you never actually can fight battles with
Yeah.
him.
I was actually always a huge fan in casual play of that last encounter you got. Doing that or this one prior to doing Sabin's scenario, so that I could have Gao learn the first class rage for use in the Kefka battles.
What does that give you?
Some sort of stone-based attack that does a very large amount of damage and confuses enemies as well,
Oh.
quite
okay.
reliably.
I never did much with rages, so.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everyone had their favorite 2 or 3 that they
This is a really
discovered.
difficult puzzle, by the way. Just hold A.
Wait, you don't have to time it?
Nope. If you're holding A when it starts, you'll automatically tag the correct light.
I guess I've never actually done that.
Huh, okay, so I didn't know to hold the start button. You didn't know you could just hold A. The things we learn.
Even though these are really weak monsters, just because of how slow Bannon is, it's faster to use smoke bombs than to actually run away.
Do you have a notion of how many smoke bombs you need to have at some point in case, random encounters troll you?
I usually go through about 60 to 70 during a run. Probably a little more since this is 100%.
And just to clarify for people who are new to Final Fantasy VI speedrunning, 100% means you get all the characters in the World of Ruin and all the espers.
Oh, and I guess something we didn't mention too is that when you get either a preemptive or a side attack, you can run away instantly before any of the enemies attack. So I do that instead of using smoke bombs.
And that conserves smoke bombs.
Now, we have to point out that lock scenario is very, very lengthy. It's a long time before we can get Celeste, so it might seem cruel, but I think we have to kind of cut off the bids on Celeste now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a little longer than the normal route because of being glitchless.
Oh, okay. Here I was
yeah.
trying to be clever. I'll stop that.
Yeah, the new any percent route for lock scenario is quite fun because you basically do it in reverse order. You use a glitch in order to clip through that soldier and go in the back door of that house to get into the basement without actually having to go through this little side quest here.
So when would you actually like to cut off Celeste's name?
Maybe when I enter the mayor's house, which is like a minute or so off.
Okay, so with Twitch delay, that means by the time you're hearing this,
Maybe
you
more
only
like
have...
maybe more like minute and a half to two, actually.
Yeah, you probably only have about a minute to get any last-minute snipes in for Celeste's name.
But the new any percent route abuses the fact that when you name a character, their data gets set for the rest of the game. So they name Celes, but then they actually leave South Figaro without actually recruiting her, and then she just shows up when you get to the Kefka at Narsh battle. So this time just stealing from that guy wasn't enough, I had to actually kill him first.
You stabbed him twice and took his cider?
Cider.
Yeah. Well, wait, I don't get it. Why is cider in quotes?
Oh, Demon Chocobo's back.
Well, I'll do it before I get to the cutscene, just so we have the Demon Chocobo during the cutscene.
So is the reason you're going through all this just because you're doing glitchless, or is there...
Pretty much. I mean, I just define glitchless based on what I see the Japanese runners do, and they all go through this.
Okay.
But they do the Ifrit and Shiva escape trick, so I do that. I mean, it's arbitrary is the thing.
Oh.
Hello.
Hi, Robots.
Along with using like the magic block True Knight trick.
Okay, so on Puexel's left, are those rabbits?
Yep.
Oh, that's adorable.
One of them's sneaking.
Although the current I could not use the current any percent route for this run though, just because in that you don't get Celes until Kefka at Narsh, and I need her for fighting tunnel armor. I mean, I could probably work around and still use the Thunder Rod on that, and then use a different strat for the cranes. But if I want to save the Thunder Rod for the cranes, then I can't skip getting Celes here. Is it just NAMI? Oh, I forgot to change the background. I'll do that right after this.
You forgot.
Yeah. Yes, I forgot.
So just to make sure that credit and or blame is properly awarded for the reactivation of the Demon Chocobo, which is coming up momentarily, we had a $40 donation from Sarah Breen, also known as Simple Sarah. And she says, reprising my role from last year, it looks like the Demon Chocobo needs a bit of support to at least get somewhere in range of being summoned to torture our souls. Yay. You're welcome. And we also have a $20 anonymous donation from this guy right here, High Spirits, that says, "Here is my promise to get Demon Chocobo. This donation to turn the lights off and close the blinds to get the best effect."
Oh. Oops.
Thing is, that will only affect us and not the viewers.
Yeah.
Well, and the problem is a lot of the windows giving us like daylight don't have curtains on them, so unfortunately that wouldn't work. But trust me, it's plenty painful as it is.
It looks worse in person than it does on the screen.
Yes.
If that's possible to imagine.
That chest I'm opened is the best chest ever. It's empty.
And we have a $100 donation from Mr. Cab, and it says, "For the sake of everyone's eyes." So after this battle, you may turn the Demon Chocobo back off.
That was bad.
All right.
Wait. You took too long to turn it on. I think one more
All
battle.
right, one more.
One more battle.
Yeah.
Yes. The rest of us may close our eyes while Poexel watches this.
Tell me when it's safe.
Alright, I think you can turn it off now.
Oh, it's still there.
Fight the battle. Keep it a fight.
Next time you look up, it will be replaced by Final Fantasy X
Is it safe now?
For now.
For now.
Until the viewers decide they want to troll us again. So I'm moving stuff around just so I can make room for the Thunder Rod when I pick it up.
Not that he wouldn't have room in his inventory, but because anything you pick up, purchase, whatever, goes into the first empty slot in your inventory, which is higher in the item menu in battle. So in other words, the Thunder Rod is going to occupy the second slot in his item menu in battle when he opens the chest to get it. So it's going to be really easy to find. Quick and easy, that is, when he needs to use it in a later battle.
Zalak is feeling a bit remorseful over stealing that key, so he's gonna beat himself up. Needs to take 4 more damage.
He didn't beat himself up enough.
Are you trying to activate the Desperation attack?
I can, but that's not the main focus.
True Knight?
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
That'll work. Ooh, ouch. Yeah, so in most other runs, you use the Thunder Rod here on this boss. That takes it out right away. But since Poexel is doing a glitchless run, he's going to save that Thunder Rod for later.
Just to clarify, for use against a boss that you would normally defeat with glitches.
Mm-hmm.
Joker Doom or
With
Vanish
Joker
Doom.
Doom, yeah.
So kind of nice. One of the challenges for this boss is figuring out when it's attacking versus counter-attacking. So one trick I've found is if when I have lock attack, I go into Celis's magic menu, because then if Tunnel Armor does a counter attack, it'll happen immediately. Whereas if it just does a regular attack, then then it'll wait until its next normal turn.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's not a super risky strat, but I do have to stay focused to make sure I hit Runic as soon as it comes up. Because on Battle Speed 6 with Running Shoes on Nami, I'm able to squeeze in an ice spell with Celis in between Tunnel Armor's turns. So I'm safe from it casting spells on me. And starting on the third, because it normally takes 4 rounds to beat Tunnel Armor with that strat, and starting on the 3rd round, I've got a chance of getting Locke's Desperation attack too, which I get every once in a while. And that finishes it from there.
Yeah, the desperation attacks happen if your character is in critical HP. And it only happens after so much time in the battle has passed.
Yeah, it's like somewhere between 25 and 30 seconds of real time.
Yeah, so you can't, it's not possible to get a desperation attack until 25 to 30 seconds have passed.
And even then, it's not guaranteed, right?
Yeah, it's
still
only like a
random.
1 in 16, I think.
1 in 16 chance of getting it.
Mm-hmm. One thing I don't know, though, is if you're using the Genji Glove, if it calculates it separately per attack or just checks for it once.
That I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be like a Nitrodon or Deseret question.
They probably know.
Yeah.
So after this, it's not too much longer before the opera. You still have to go through Zozo, but you can still get in donations for who does which part in the opera. I don't want to do Draco.
But you're not ready for that deep tenor part today?
I'm always Draco.
Yes. Poor Essentia here has the fate of being typecast.
I'm typecast as Draco. I totally fit the part.
I'm going to be proud to do the 2 lines that I have, okay? It made it worse than trying to read the credits last night.
And irritating the hotel patrons in the process. So I have kind of waffled back and forth about Locke's scenario just because, I mean, this game is so glitchy that it has glitches that are just absolutely impossible to not have affect you, so just saying a no Vanish Doom or Joker Doom run would make it kind of easier to explain what it is. But as of now, I'm just kind of copying what I see the Japanese FF6 community do.
Are there any other like glitches that you don't use?
I could theoretically use the Psycho Cyan bug or a trick to make Terra's morph gauge last forever.
Oh.
Yeah. Because actually, when I get into a cutscene or something, I'll explain those.
Just have an overwhelming urge to steal from him.
Poor Tarek gets left out.
General Kutan, the traitor.
Don't get these violent sex.
So the reason why I'm putting my characters I'm actually using to fight Kefka in the second group is just because it starts 2 steps closer. Oops, actually, I'm supposed to do this first.
Okay, so that's the reason you put Celis in that group, so
Yeah.
you could unequip her.
This one's much easier than the Moogle multi-party battle as far as avoiding the soldiers. The only one with any real challenge is the rider running back and forth down there.
Yeah, it's important to note that the movement of every one of these soldiers is fixed. There's nothing random about this. Oh.
Dumb.
Ouch.
We're fine though.
So here he's using the wait trick in the menu quite a bit, just so that Kefka doesn't get very many turns.
Yeah, because if he gets a third turn, he might use Ice 2, and if it targets my whole party, then I'm usually dead. But by using the wait trick pretty aggressively, I can always beat him before he does, though. So I guess this is probably an appropriate time to talk about the Terra permamorph glitch that could be useful in a speedrun if you were allowing glitches, but that weren't Vanish Doom or Joker Doom. Because when you morph with Terra, there's a timer that counts down, and then when it runs out, the game kind of inserts an action into the ATB system to unmorph her. But if Terra is put to sleep or paralyzed or petrified or something like that, then she can't unmorph, and the game doesn't make any further attempts to unmorph her for the rest of that battle. And if you use it during the final battle too, it does carry over between tiers too. I tested that out.
Is there anywhere that would be useful though?
Not really in my route, just because I use the wait trick in order to give Terra unlimited morph anyway. But in like an any % route that involved getting Terra, you could theoretically use that during the final battle to morph her permanently, just because then her magic does a lot more damage. I think LCC has been talking about wanting to do just a glitched run that doesn't use Vanish Doom or Joker Doom, just to show off a lot of the more obscure stuff that you wouldn't ordinarily see. Like there's another bug called Psycho Cyan where it involves using his level 2 sword tech retort that I used to kill that guard captain at Doma Castle. But I don't remember offhand the exact sequence, but I know it involves turning him into an imp, killing him, and then reviving him, and then having something attack him. What that does is it basically kind of sets up an infinite counterattack loop, basically, where... Yeah.
He just counters everything, so he counters his own attacks. He just keeps doing it.
Yep. And that's just basically a bug that he can't. He's not supposed to be able to use sword techs when he's an imp, but because he still has a status condition activated that makes him counterattack, then he does it anyway. But because he doesn't use retort, it doesn't get reset. This is a very well programmed game.
Yeah, we saw Driscoll just walk up to the computer.
Hi. I'm a guest reader for this one because this is Villagens. A donation of $300.
Oh, wow, thank you.
This is going to be my final donation of the marathon because of PayPal. I'll make it count by allocating $200 to keep the Demon Chocobo on. The remaining $100 will go to rename Setzer to Yuna, Universe for Life. Thanks to everyone for an amazing marathon, and I hope to see you all again next year.
Yeah.
Well done.
We're not clapping for Demon Chocobo. We're
Clapping for the donation.
Actually, I have to be honest, I kind of am clapping for Demon Chocobo, too.
Okay, fine.
I thought that's what we were clapping for.
You can still get in donations for the opera parts.